she is. Hey, how are
Hey,
you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's so good to see you.
I know it feels like it's been forever.
I know. I know. So I can't wait to hear what's up, what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, things are good. I'm in LA right now. I don't know. I think I was maybe almost on my way out here the last time we chatted.
Yes.
Um, yeah, we're hanging out here, getting plenty of sun, which is nice. Are you still out in Florida?
I am still in Florida. Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm in a little different background because we actually had a massive flood, believe it or not.
Oh
So
no.
literally every room in the house except for the laundry room and the master bathroom has was impacted, and rugs are torn up, and today's one of the first days without fans cranking.
Oh my
um
gosh.
yeah, so we're literally going to have to be relocated for 30 days.
30 days.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I know, right? And the thing is, I just don't think about it. It's the back part of the commode just developed a leak, and it leaked all night right before Valentine's Day, and I
Oh
woke up
wow.
and everything is underwater. So it was the upstairs bathroom. So it just everything. I mean, the garage and the
Oh my
ev-
gosh.
I know it's crazy. So anyway, yeah,
Oh.
why things look a little bit different here. I'm like, I found this
Oh,
little corner. My office is completely like,
oh my gosh.
yeah. So eh,
Just
eh,
rolling with it, I suppose.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad you could at
I'm
least
suddenly
still
in the mood to
meet.
have new floors.
Yeah. Nice.
So
Oh, that's
anyway, but bring
crazy.
me up to speed with Ripple and everything else going on.
Yeah. Oh man, where do I even start? So I feel like things are moving, but they're also like not as much. Well, that's probably underselling it because I've done a lot since the last time we talked. But I did a lot of reaching out to people and just like trying to like learn as a
Yes.
first step and hone the concepts. Like I talked to one of my teacher friends. I reached out, I posted on Nextdoor, and I ended up meeting this woman out here in LA who talked to me, was interested in it, and just gave me like feedback. And then I ended up connecting with one of my friends who's a dance teacher in Minnesota.
Hmm.
And she gave me tons of feedback, was really nice about it. And then we put together like a really short and sweet survey that she sent out to some of her students. And I just had, that was actually like, it was kind of like a process over several weeks, just
Yeah.
kind of working back and forth with her. And then there were 4 girls that responded to the survey and expressed interest in wanting to learn more, which was kind of the purpose of that, was to learn what people would be interested in and then
Right.
kind of gain some, not really signups, but just people to follow up with.
Right.
Um, I made a website, which it's like a first draft of a website, but it's there, which is exciting.
Great.
And yeah, I just reached out to, there was someone else I feel like I reached out to, but I feel like there's a few other things I did as well that I can't remember. But right now I'm basically at this point with Ripple where I'm like, okay, I've like gotten it out there and I feel like I've validated that like some people would be interested in the general concept. One thing that was surprising is I heard different things for different ages actually. So like I went into it right with like I don't know if you remember, but like we talked about like the 14-year-old
Yep.
girl, right, in middle school. And what's interesting is my teacher friend who teaches little kids, like
Yeah.
first grade, was like, oh, I think this could be a really interesting concept for like really little kids. And she's like, maybe it's not just about dance, but it's just like social emotional learning is like really hot right now in education,
Yes.
especially with the pandemic, because
Yes.
kids are having a hard time, learning how to regulate emotions and all that stuff. And she's like,
Right.
maybe it's that through movement, and dance is just like one of those ways. So that was kind of an interesting um like learning.
Yeah.
And then this other woman that I met with, she first thought like, oh, I could see like younger boys really liking this because they have so much. She's like a former teacher, and she's like, they have so
Yeah.
much energy that they need to get out. I was like, oh, that's like so different, right, than what I was thinking.
Yes.
So that was really interesting. But then when I talked to my friend who's a dance teacher who has the demographic, she has dancers that are in that demographic that I mentioned, she actually thought it was a really good like age range to target.
Mm-hmm.
So I got mixed signals on all of that, which gives me hope though that there's like enough to like play around with. And really I'm at the stage now where I'm like, okay, I put this website together. I've like gotten it out there a lot more. I have like an Instagram account with nothing posted on it, but it's like it's all there.
Yep.
And I am hoping to basically start a 1 month long beta program where we would meet weekly and just get at least like 4 or 5 girls to sign up. That's kind of, but I need them to be like the same age.
Yep.
That's the problem there. And I created like an Eventbrite page to like sign up for that. That's like tied into the website. So I feel like I have, yeah, I can iterate on that and the messaging and stuff, which I've been doing as I've been like talking to people. But now I'm at this point where I followed up with my friend who's a dance teacher and was like, do you mind if I reach out to the girls who expressed interest? Because I also don't want to like overstep
Of
with
course.
her studio kids, you know, and they're kids.
Yep.
So I just
Right.
I didn't want to be weird. And she didn't say anything to me yet. So I'm kind of waiting. I'll follow up with her today. But she was also gonna try to nudge kids who haven't taken the survey to also take it. So that's like long-winded. Those are all the things
No, that's great.
been
That's
going on to progress, but I'm still not like, I haven't like, you know, run the concept, but I'm a lot closer than I was before. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
So I love it. I love it. And I would just really shine a spotlight on that it's called chatterboxing. What you've been doing is really reaching out to different people verbally and like, or, you know, even if it's written, but reaching out to people and getting information, getting questions, and really, honestly, since you and I have had our last session too, I've really done a lot of immersing myself into what's really working now because there's so many dang, you know, marketing ideas out there. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And it's just like all over the place. But it gets a lot more impersonal as opposed to
Mm,
personal. And what really seems to be working well is that variation of chatterboxing, especially. I mean, I know so many people over the last few months by who had beta projects, myself included. I was playing with the nothing like putting in it. It's like, okay, let's see if this works, right? Really putting it into action. So launched my own group program a couple weeks ago and have 8 women in it. This one's just for women. I have 8 women in it. And it was totally, this was like not allowed to do anything else. No, you know, no setting up. This isn't, you know, this is an event, come and do it. No going for quote unquote strangers. This is completely either people who are connections with me or who are in
hmm.
a group with me or who I can reach out and say, this is what I'm doing. Do you happen to know of anyone who might be of service? And then
Interesting.
not take it personally. That's a big thing. Just get it out there and
Yeah.
touch base with a lot of people and say, this is what I'm doing. Do you know of anyone do you know of anyone who's either struggling with us or who would really find a benefit from this? And I can really see that
Hmm.
being a great possibility for you, especially with that poll strategy, doing a poll. If there's some like mom groups out there, especially like in your demographics, young moms, older moms, I would reach out to the administrators and say, you know, I'm working on this project. You know, because some of the groups they'll let you post anything, but others are like, they have their rules, and say, here's what I'd love to do. I'm putting together this program, and I really want it to be a value to moms, and I believe it's something that's serving a real good purpose. I've gotten some great feedback, but I want it to be, I don't want to just guess what people feel like they need. Would I be able, here's the poll, would I
Hmm.
be able to post that on your group? Some might say no, but some would say yes. And then these are moms who, that you get to hear whoever's, Facebook shows you whoever has responded and what they've responded. And then you can start by saying, reaching out to them, hey, thank you for taking my poll. Um, I'd be happy to keep you updated with how this is going, or if you feel like you would like more information, or if you know someone. And that's when you start getting creative with saying, if you refer it here, once you start talking about prices, it's blank. But if you, for every person, every other family that you would refer, or every other, if you have 2 children, there's this. If you refer a family, if you refer 3 people, your admission is complimentary. Because at the beginning, of course, you want to have, I won't say as many people, you don't want 100, you're not set up to do that right now. But, meaning if you could get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, anywhere up to 20, it would give you a good feed for what's working, what's not working, what could be done differently, right?
Yeah. So is this like a platform or like what? I was trying to just understand what exactly.
So chatterboxing is a terminology.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Chatterboxing means doing anything from Facebook to Instagram, wherever you have your connections. It can even be email, people that you know. It can be people in a work environment that that are parents, reaching out to them. Hey, unusual question, but I know you have kids. And
Yeah.
I've been working on this project because my passion is kids and dance and, empowerment, however you want to term it, and say, and I've recently had some input that I hadn't considered. And it was, this age group for this, or it was, having it for targeting little boys. What are your thoughts on that? Would you find that kind of useful if this is what we have, you know, or could I ask you a few questions? I know you're a parent. Would you mind? I have a project that I'm working on that's really toward kids. Would I be able to just pick your brain for 5 minutes on a phone call, or just get, you know, I've got a short little survey. Would you be willing to take it and create it on Google Docs? Create a
Yeah.
Google form, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it is similar to what I feel like I've already been doing, just kind of putting stuff out there and reaching out to people just in my network and just kind of
And
seeing.
and the fact that you already potentially have 4 girls who have taken that survey and expressed curiosity really does speak loudly.
Yeah, I mean, that's more than I thought. I was like, oh, they all had the survey had different questions, and so that some of them had kind of different expectations about how long it would be, if it would be virtual and like all that type of stuff. But they all were like, I just love dance. This seems like a really interesting like format and way to do this. And so I was like, I'll take it. 4 people at least saying they're interested is kind of, they're not purchasing the
Absolutely.
product yet, but
This is where you shift your mindset a little bit and say, okay, um, I'm going to give you a good price, with the
yeah,
understanding that this is you. How would you like to be part of my beta group? And I'm going to be here alongside with you, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to help me really create this and craft this based on what your genius, your ideas. So in addition to dancing in it, you're going to be able to contribute and give me ideas of what you think, again, what's working, what you feel could be done differently. What are some of your ideas, and be part of this process, right? And
yeah,
create that as a benefit, not oh my gosh, this is the first time we've ever done this, but no, this is a cool concept, and I want your feedback and your input because I want this to be something that's amazing, not just for you, but for many kids for decades to come, right?
Yeah. I have that in my on my website, the messaging. It's like the benefit is like you get to be a founder, and yeah, it's the
Yeah.
founder pricing or whatever. So yeah, I love that.
Yep. And so what I would do, Brooke, is I would set a date when you're launching this and
Yeah,
say,
it's funny. I tried to, and I just always push it out because I haven't like said the date to anyone.
and so what I'm saying to you is we all do that.
What day did I
Until
say? March
you,
9th.
yeah.
I might need to
So
push it out a little bit.
you may need to push that out, but once you push it out, make it firm. It doesn't mean that you can't add some people afterwards, but this is the time, this is my target launch date. And set a real targets for yourself every single week of how many people you're going to touch, meaning reach out and connect with in some way.
Yeah.
And get that out there, and it be not not overwhelming, meaning like not 10 paragraphs, but just, hey, got this going on, just wondered, do you know of anyone that might have kids and might be either taking the angle of being able to give me some input, or who might uh, want some more information about this kind of project. And you'll be
Yeah.
surprised how many people you potentially can get.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I finally have all the things like I'm sure I'll always be fine tuning the messaging for all this stuff, right? But I feel like I finally have it. I have it in a lot better place than I did
Yeah.
before. So it's all there. It's just a matter of following up with those 4 girls, and then yeah, like I think like you said, just kind of what I've been doing already. Maybe I could just post on Facebook and Instagram even, and then think if there's like
And
specific people to reach out to.
and go and even not overthink it, because here's where our fear gets in the way, is we feel like I'm not ready, I'm not prepared enough, it's not perfect, right? And we forget about the, wait a minute, we're going to iterate it to awesome, right? Done is better than perfect, because we want these people feedback. The only way to get feedback is to get it out there so we can get their input to make it even better, right? So don't overthink, meaning like, let's see, would this person know someone? I don't know. Instead of saying, hey, random question out of left field, but I'm working on a project that I think is going to have great impact on, kids in this age group, that combines dance with emotional intelligence. Do you know, I'm looking for some input on X, Y, and Z. Do you know anyone, who either has kids, who might be looking for something? I'm an alternate for, after school care, or whatever, however you want to phrase the questions.
Yeah.
Or do you know anyone who has, random left field question? Do you happen to have anyone in your circle, or know anyone in your circle who has kids in this age group who are stuck at home right now without, say, some of the after school options that they have had, or who love, who might like some dance alternative, however many ways, I mean, whatever kind of questions. And you can
Yeah.
experiment and see what people resonate with, or you can have certain questions for certain people, but going in and not putting it in the self context of rejection. This is out
Yeah.
there saying, I just want to connect with people who,
Yeah.
and I don't know, you might have grandkids, you might, um, you might be a gay couple that has kids, you might have a neighbor who has kids, You know, you might be a big brother, big sister and sponsor 5 kids. I don't know. But the only
So
way I do know is by reaching out and saying, hey, you know, quick random question, you know, blah, blah, blah. Right.
yeah, yeah, I love it.
And I think you're at that point where it's time to do that, Brooke. You've got enough together. You are ready.
Love it. I just sent you the website as well, so
Perfect.
you don't need to look at it right now, but I figured you
Love
can
it.
we see it.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I totally agree. I'm excited. This is
And
good. I'm getting more excited about
yes,
this.
yes, yes, yes. And again, it's just doing it. It's carving out the time and saying, I'm going to do this. And this is not about, and I'm not taking it personally if people don't get back to me. Sometimes even people who intend to get back to you get busy and don't get back to you. So it's not personal if you reach out to people and people don't get back to you, or if people say,
Yeah.
no, not right now, or whatever. It's not personal. You're simply out there looking for data and to find the people who do have interest, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's time. It's time for you for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. I mean, everything that I'm hearing, right? I mean, this is not necessarily, I feel like a rabbit hole right now would be to go out there and say, okay, let's start a posting campaign on Instagram. Okay, cool. But
No, I just need to find people to like
you need to go
sign
out
up.
get your beta people. You need to get
Yeah.
your beta people and say this is, and so create some momentum, because I can promise you from this group that I've created, you will learn things that you will be shocked, and not in a bad way. But I mean,
You're
for
surprised. Yeah.
example, the women in this group are all like, oh my God, I mean, after the first Zoom call, it was like, oh my God, I love this group, to have a group of supportive, women that are very positively focused and this and that. And I mean, granted, that was part of the intention, but I didn't think this would be like, oh my God, I love this group being around all these dynamos. I mean, just the connection between, and the women starting to reach out to each other and collaborate, and like, oh my God, I love this and I'm here to support. And I mean, it's just, and this is bringing out the best of me. And I feel, I mean, I was just like,
Like,
whoa,
oh.
yeah, like, whoa. I mean, this was supposed to be a side effect. This wasn't something that I was really ramping up when I
Yeah.
was, telling people what this was going to be. It was an aside. It was like, oh, and have a lot of fun with some amazing women in the process. You know, who knew that this would be, oh my God, Meredith, the group that you put together, I
That's
mean,
funny.
yeah. So get it out there so you know what that is. And then I can promise you, for me now, pitching this same group as I go forward and put together more groups of these, um, it's going to be a lot more fun, a lot easier, because I've seen it in action.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the sooner you get it out there and have that, not to mention some of the testimonials.
Yeah. Sense.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
I'm
So
excited.
you should be. You
I know
should.
I think part of it's just trying to like reinvigorate, the excitement of it too. And when I mean, I think I've been doing all the things that you've pretty much been saying. And I feel good about like where it's sort of led me, and I'm getting close, like much closer. But yeah, it's always very energizing at the moments where, you feel like you learned something, or you're one step closer and you actually are talking to these kids who are interested and joining. You're not just, yeah, I don't know.
Right. And the
Yeah,
more that
so.
you get out there and do that, the more, and it's also, to establish, especially in your case, do it with your group of besties. Here's the, we have packages, right? Or, a family packages and that kind of thing to kind of amplify that a little bit. And then you may even start exploring, okay, so approaching individuals, cool, right? I'm building my repertoire of individuals in this class. Are there any groups that could actually pay for this, like pay for the whole group,
Hmm.
like a Montessori school, for example? Might this be something if you were to say, hello, Montessori school, this is what I do. This is an option for a fundraiser for the school. So if you get the word out to your parents, then, we'll 50% of what we do, which is like an affiliate fee. That's normal if there is not a lot of one-on-one training, but saying, we've got this program, we've got this concept, and we put it all together. But, here's the cost.
Yeah, that's a good
So
idea.
rather than you having to go one and one and one and one and one, what groups are there? And also, are there groups that even, this isn't something that initially I think you want to get involved in, but put it in your mind. And it is that even at some point you could get massive grants for. So, for example, children in homeless shelters, providing they had, the access to technology, or in abused homes or something like that, children in that danger zone, even at some of the schools who are for at-risk kids.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
And, I mean, so there are all different ways. So how can you think in ways that you can spend the same amount of time and effort, but go for bigger fish?
Yeah.
Simply by
Yep.
making those same sort of connections and calls.
Yeah. Someone else was telling me maybe just even reaching out to just like schools around here or like libraries or like places kind of like what you're mentioning that offer things to kids that might be looking for new and more engaging
Yep.
sort of after school stuff
Definitely
during this weird.
try the little private preschool academies if you're thinking of that demographic at all, right? Because you've got the Montessoris, you've got all the elite daycare, because they tend to have, more of the funds. A library that might,
Yeah, my friend's a first grade teacher at a private school in New York City, and I'm going with like the older demographic right now, but maybe I can follow up with her and see if there's an opportunity to run like a beta program even at her school with the younger kids.
Right.
I'm trying to I think the age group is difficult because it's like in the messaging, it needs to be clear who it's for.
Well, but so rather than seeing this as a problem, saying, what if this was not a problem? What if this was an asset? So we have this program with this cute little name for young girls. We have this program. So we're starting with these two programs. So this has this age range, this has this age range. And ultimately, guess what? You're growing your future clients, right? I mean, it's a brilliant factor of most dance academies out there. They start the girls when they're barely able to move. And many of these girls progress all the way until they're graduating from high school. That's like a many decade customer span. Lifetime value of that customer is crazy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So remember also that as you're doing the website for the younger girls, the website is more for the parents at that point. So that makes it not that different for the website from the older girls. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and if you
Yeah.
look at like a dance academy website, they have
But just,
all different sorts of age groups.
yeah.
So you have specific messaging to the programs that are geared toward the different age groups.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think I'm also just trying to get one off the ground.
Yeah.
So I'm also trying to be like, okay, how can I like focus my efforts if I'm going
Right.
to go reach out
Here's
to a
that.
bunch of
So here's
people?
that. So here's where I'm playing devil's advocate with you, though. I will share you. I will share a story with you. Um, there a man that I know who I met in Marisa Murgatroyd's course, because I was taking that to see what she has, a completely different approach to like online training and stuff. And I was really curious. I hadn't seen her work before, so I decided to do this. And her claim is that if you follow this, you will make $2,000 or a whole lot more in 10 weeks by going basically through that. I thought, okay, that's interesting. So met this gentleman in the IT space, kind of IT lead generation sort of stuff, but from a different country and more corporate background. So he started out with a concept of creating a program for like you and me, right? The individual entrepreneur. And so he started chatterboxing, reaching out to people that he knew in his circles. And on one of those conversations, someone introduced the idea, wow, you could really create this program. This would be great for businesses, for teams within a business. Well, okay, I guess I could do that. Well, if you were to do that, how much would that cost? Well, be $25,000. Okay, well, guess what? In 1 month, Brooke, he made $750,000
Wow.
by pivoting that idea and being willing to say, okay, this is where the interest is, this is where it is leading me. And so I'm going to follow this and I'm going to play with this because these are ultimately customers who are willing to pay me money. That's the
Yeah.
ultimate vote of, yep, I like that idea. So what I'm saying at this point is, yes, there's absolute value. Get it going, set a launch date. And if you want to, there's you, first of all, you can set two different launch dates for starting one, starting the other. But if you put them out there to see what is going to be worthy of your time and effort. Right now, you're playing Russian roulette, just trying to guess, saying, I'm going to go with this first. I'm going to see if I can launch it. And suppose that didn't launch, then you would probably jump to the conclusion, maybe it's not going to work. As opposed to saying, here's the concept. It's in beta right now. We're exploring this, and so maybe it's poll first. So maybe you say we're launching this 2 months down the road. Maybe it's April, right? But so right now I'm reaching out to find out what would you want to see for your child or your little girl or whatever, or is this something that you would consider for your little girl? Right, as an alternative to maybe your virtual tap classes or something like that, right?
Yeah. I think it's a really good idea. It's almost like taking a wider scattered approach of just like putting it out there and then providing some way for people of different ages to sign up just to kind of see what's sticking, and then from there kind of shape where the interest is.
And you could even start saying we're starting with 2 beta classes, right? One for this age, 2 beta programs. Because if you look at, again, you're not having to start from scratch. You're sort of reinventing the dance academy wheel. So how does a dance academy launch? They launch, I mean, so you can even ask your friend when you launched, how did you launch? Did you launch now? So you can do your own variation of this, but chances are it wasn't just a tap dance class for 3-year-olds. There was some sort of,
Yeah.
right? And so if you can say, okay, if I feel, how much do I feel like I could manage, first of all,
Yeah.
right? But, and what do I need to know more than anything? The big pounding questions are, who's going to jump at this? The children, the parents of the younger kids, or those 13, 14-year-olds, or both? And how different is it? Could I learn more by running them both? How much more effort would it take? If I truly couldn't handle it, okay, then I'm out first. I need to pull and find out where my efforts are, best spent.
Yeah.
But the best way to answer that question is to ask people, real people, and to see where they would, reserve your spot in the beta program, right?
Yeah. No, that makes
If
sense.
you decide to take a deposit from them as opposed to the full thing, this 50% is due now, this will be due before the class starts, that kind of thing. But even the part of the goal should be, and it sounds like you're doing a lot of this already, but can I get you on a call for 5 minutes or 10 minutes just to get your input of what you think you would like to see, what would be really valuable for your child? We want to marry dance, and we want to marry emotional intelligence, right?
Yeah.
I tell you, when I was playing with this and I reached out, for me, what I was reaching out, I reached out lots of different things, but my variation of what we're talking about here was I created this program, right, for these women. And I thought, what I saw with my friend and with some other, that he was not the only one who did that. There were a couple people who went for groups instead of individuals. And they're seeing 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, as opposed to other people seeing 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 8,000.
Hmm.
Big difference. Same about, but they're everyone's doing the same thing, chatterboxing. And so I thought, let me play with this a little bit on LinkedIn, reach out to some people, start by asking some basic questions. And Brooke, 50% of the people replied to me when I was asking a question about, in your workplace, do you see your colleagues struggling with this or that? Is there, if there's one, if they could get a breakthrough here, how much do you think that would benefit them to have a program that would really help them with this, and this? These 3 things. Picked 3 things. And 50% of the people got back and said, this is what I see my team struggling with, or this or that. And so now it sets the stage for me to go back and go, hey, thank you so much for your feedback. This is the program.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I really, you were so ready for this.
I've been doing it. It's just like, gotta just like do more and like just keep taking what I'm learning and kind of using it to shape. And I think there's some actionable stuff I can do too around like, just, I like the insight about the ages, just taking like a more just like scattered to the wind kind of approach of just like, I'm literally just going to put this out there and just try to reach out to a bunch of different people and see if they have, obviously it'll still be focused for kids, right? I think that's a good constraint. And then I like it.
Yeah, because what your goal is not to try to figure out to see the future. Your goal is to get the minimum viable product so that then you can start, once you get it in front of real people, then you can see what to add to it. And even with this group course that I launched, it was so helpful for me to see how quickly they're consuming stuff or how quickly they're not consuming stuff, right? How much material do I want to give real people who have like real jobs, right? Without them feeling like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I would also love to hear about that. You mentioned that over the email, the new group, it's like group coaching that you're doing. Is that
Yeah.
what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to just hear about that, just to.
Yeah, I'll share the kind of the overview with you, and you can have a look at it, and you know, anything that you can pull from that. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. Like we get together every Tuesday night from 8 to 10 right now, just so everybody on every coast can have access. And it's really been, it's been kind of magical the way everybody gets together. It's very cool. So but yet it has a very specific flow to it, right? So very specifically, I mean, so there's some online components, right, that you kind of go through and you got the basics. And then on Tuesday nights, we kind of pull it together, ask questions, do shares. But it starts with, you know, the first piece that they've finished now is really that identification piece. Where are they now? Even for clients who have an idea of a project that they're working on. So it's all in the context of unleash the epic you. Okay, so you've got this project. You feel like, okay, I'm moving toward that project. What would be stretch epic for you right now? Well, no, I've got everything going, but you know, the big problem right now is that my job, I got this and that's. Okay, stretch epic in something that you're calling impossible right now. Where's the potential? Where are you stopping yourself by saying that's impossible? And how can you turn that into your stretch epic? And how can you start believing in a more epic future version of yourself, as opposed to the version of yourself that you've gotten used to saying, this is me, this is who I am? How can you continue stretching that? So we go from that first identification piece, identifying the future you, into rebooting and really focusing in some of the things that normally stop us when we're pursuing epic things: fear, self-doubt, you know, the usual, right? Really going in there. And then from there, going into starting to, okay, how do we start to unleash this, and how do we really put that into action out there with our own, like, systems, our personal empowerment systems, and our really clearly identifying what that powerful future, that epic future looks for us. But then leaving this, the walk away is a 90-day action plan. Okay, what are we going to do that's going to get us to this finish line in 90 days? So so yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun. So it's very cool, because no one gets to really stay in a comfort zone without, you know, everyone like, yeah, pulling it out.
Cool.
Yeah. So
very cool.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. So, but yeah, I mean, challenge yourself to say, I'm ready. Say, I'm ready for this. Can you begin to believe that you're ready for this?
Yeah, I feel a lot. I feel like I'm more out there already. So I definitely feel like I'm ready. It's just a matter of just gotta keep talking to people and set the date, and just try to get people to actually sign up for the concrete, like, thing.
Right. And setting and saying to yourself, and play with some of the alternatives that we talked about, whether it's reaching out, so for example, create a little strategy for yourself where that is based on an action plan. That is, okay, I am dedicating so many blocks of time to reaching out to people, or create a template, right? Create a template for individuals, a basic one, and one maybe for some of those organizations. Take the time. If it takes half an hour or an hour, who cares? Because it's a template. But then what you're going to commit to doing is, as you're you don't have energy to do anything else, you're going to treat yourself to finding, whether it's on LinkedIn or wherever you're going to find these people, however you find them, how to connect with people in a Montessori or people in some of these little daycares. And you're going to send them your little template saying, hey, quick question here, blah, 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 blah. I really want to make this powerful and dynamic for kids. I realize it's an important time. Could I get 5 minutes to get your input on these 3 things, right? And then see if they respond to you, and then take the time to put together a little overview of what this program is and get it back to them.
Yeah, it's an interesting approach. Like first asking and then showing, like based on exactly what they just asked.
Oh my gosh. And Brooke, that is golden. I will tell you, for my corporate version of this, it is behind the other version. So I'm just working on it. But I couldn't believe it. This one guy, because I was kind of, I was playing with it's the eternal, I think, question that when you're on the teaching end versus the receiving end, we talk in our teaching language, like as opposed to how you would describe it on the receiving end. So it's how do I capture in your words so that you're going to recognize what you feel like you're looking for. And so I shot, a bunch of these out with my words, trying to be their words, and not bad. I mean, I'm not bad at it. But this man responded with it was like the magic words. It's like, oh my God, they're my words. This whole campaign of reaching out was worth it for those 3 little phrases that he came back with. I was like, that's it. That's brilliant. That's what I want. Take his words, take my words, and put his words where my words were. And it's like, that's it. That's it. That's what I need. And so I have a couple of calls set up with companies to potentially do the same thing, called reignite the epic you, as opposed to unleash the epic you. That is geared toward companies, right? So who are dealing with, having to leave the separating the stress from home with work and that kind of thing, right? Several different components, right? That a lot of companies are struggling with their teams right now.
Yeah, that's funny. Never thought about that. Like, let me get your words, and then I'm going to use that as my marketing collateral to sell this thing to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And if that authentically is what you're delivering, you've just been not sure how to phrase it so that they understand that this is what I'm delivering.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I'll have to play around with that for sure.
Yeah, because I can see what you're doing definitely for individuals, a la the dance school model, but there are dance schools that really catapult quickly by aligning themselves with schools, especially schools that need fundraising, and adding it as a bonus, right?
Yeah.
So how can you continue to think kind of bigger and bigger is the new question. And it's not completely obliterating the other idea, but at all. It's saying, okay, so what if you were to dedicate one day a week to reaching out to with a template to some schools? And again, not caring, because if you, even if you were to reach out to them and nobody got back to you, you are no worse off than if you don't do it. So, but
Yeah, for
if you
sure.
do it and people get back to you, it could be golden. It could be someone like, let's say it's $1,000 for 3 months or something, or whatever number you come up with, $1,000 per, let's say, well, that would be too much. So let's say, I'm thinking individually. So what are you thinking of charging per student per month?
Well, the thing is, I haven't thought about it holistically, but or like long term. But for the beta launch, I was like, I feel like if it's 4 sessions over a month, like $50 feels pretty reasonable for like a beta price because it's still, I mean, my time, right? If it's an
Right.
hour and a half every week, that's a lot. And then all the prep, like I was like, okay, I need to make something, but I feel like, so I think without the beta pricing, I want to do something more than that. Like, I don't know, it depends on how the model ends up being because like you see some of these fitness boutique, studios
Right.
charging $35 for a single session, which
Right.
feels crazy, but people they'll pay
Right.
for it.
Have you explored, have you researched to see what tuitions are for dance studios right now?
I went through and looked at a couple. Like there's definitely like a discount for the virtual as well. So that's the other thing to keep in mind is since it's not in person, I think people
Right, of
expect
course.
it to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's usually like if it's a semester long, there's probably certain pricing versus,
So you need to
drop-ins and
know what
whatnot.
that is. You need to know what that is, Brooke. You need to research and really find out what the range is, because then you can make an educated pitch to someone, um, and say, this is what, so if you have 10 kids who are going to participate in it, this is what the cost would be, and I can give a certain
Yeah.
percentage of this um, to the school. And the thing is, if you get a couple schools, you don't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be, because it's all done virtually. You can have multiple schools at the same time or back to back, whatever you decide you want to do. Right. But you need to know what that pricing is.
Yeah, that's a good point. I looked it up a while ago, but yeah, I should just know it. Um, yeah, it probably differs slightly too for different ages and
Right. And
areas. Like I'm in LA right now versus probably in suburbia Minnesota. It's probably going to cost less
well, but see,
potentially.
that's also, but see, here's where you figure out if you're like approaching schools, um, do you, if you don't put it on your website, or I mean, do you decide that you can charge more to the schools in LA than you would charge to a Nebraska school,
Ah, I see. Yeah,
right? So to understand it, would depending on where you're pitching, what their demographic expects, much less can afford, right? But in LA, if you were to go super cheap, they might think it's not quality,
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah,
right? So so you really need to know your numbers, and that way you can turn around and really um, well, be talking to the people who are interested, but also, and not be just pulling a number out of your hat based on feeling, but really be looking and seeing what, you know being able to talk educate, from an educated perspective about it, and talk about how, when this gets up and running, the average would be for this, but for the beta of this, or for, if you're part of the beta launch or part of the founded group, then we'll give you this if you're an individual. But if it's if you're pitching this to organizations and or schools, it's, we can accommodate up to, here's the age range. And for every 10 kids, it's say $1,000 month, or $500 a month, or whatever. Or if you were to look and see that, the norm is, $25 a class, then that's $100 a child. So even if you go in at $75 a child per month,
Yeah.
for 10 kids at 750, if you do 20, you know, and you start building up with that, instead of having to work so hard to get $25 from someone or $50 from someone, you know,
Totally. Yeah, no, it's a good point. Makes a lot of sense.
and make sure you have packages for siblings and this and that. And again, bring a friend, that kind of thing. You want to have those options, and there can be a way of saying, there's a special for the next 2 weeks that if you enroll, you can bring a friend on me, right?
Yeah,
I'll
it seems
pay
a
your
really
friend,
discount.
but yeah, but you say, I'll pay for your friend as part of the beta, right? So it makes it seem like,
Love it.
yeah, for sure,
So I
darling.
should do.
Yes.
But it's good.
So what else? Anything else before we?
I don't think so. I think it's good. I feel like I kind of like know the things I need to do. I just need to do them or just keep experimenting with reaching out to people. I think I got some good ideas to kind of maybe adjust my approach a little bit and think about, I don't know, all those different things we chatted about. So that's helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, I think this is our fourth session.
Oh yeah,
I think it is. So,
I think you're right.
yeah. So, I'll send you the little overview of the group stuff, but
Oh yeah,
but I will send you a link in case you decide you need more support with any sort of something as you go
I
forward.
think I need to like take time, take the actions,
I know
and then
you
it's
do.
like once I, because yeah, it's kind of like once I do that, and maybe once there is like a beta group running, and I'm like, oh, what do I? It's kind of a new thing, right? It's like, okay, now I have all these people. What do I do? How do I take this and make the most of
Right.
keeping this rolling? Maybe that's another point. Or if I feel like, oh, this isn't really getting anywhere, should I go back to the drawing board? Those kinds of questions. But I feel like right now it's like, okay, just
Right now,
keep going.
absolutely. And the that you bring up a good point, and what I'll give you as well is, there's a link. I have a couple, some clients who are kind of at the same phase where they basically need accountability. That's it. It's not, I mean, we've
Yeah.
talked about a lot of the strategies. Now it's just like, okay, I need a 30-minute, like, power whoosh, let's focus, let's do it. And I want to know that on a certain day we've got a session, and I'm going to bring you up to speed. And again, it's a power whoosh, and it's 30
Yeah.
minutes. So I'll give you that in case that sounds like
Yeah.
something that would be, it's super affordable, as you would imagine. But it's just to kind of keep you on track, and
Rolling. Yeah.
yeah, and out of your own way of thinking like, oh, I'm not ready. I need to
Yeah.
explore this. I need more data. No, you don't. You're ready. Go out there, reach out and touch someone. Because this is a great concept. This is.
I know. It's been, yeah, I'm still excited about it, which is a good sign.
Yes. Yeah. It's a great concept, and it has the potential to be so great for kids and parents and everything. So you need to get it out there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Appreciate all your help. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. And of course, if you need anything, let me know. But I'll send you some of these links in case any of them feel like, okay, this will work for me. And Yeah, because you're at the phase where you just need to do this, baby doll.
I know. Like you helped me figure it all out already, which was like, I feel like I
Yes.
don't know, I
Yeah.
love all that stuff, which is part of the problem. I like doing that stuff. But
Right. And so now it's just getting out there and seeing it take fruition, because I promise you, once then you go through a phase, and it's a mind frick phase, where you feel like, oh, this isn't working out. This is just, it's not working. Maybe I should just, and then when you keep going, just commit and keep going and going and reaching out to people, then it's like you get, after you get your first one and then your next, and they start coming together, and then it's really exciting, and then it takes on kind of a life of its own. It's like, wow, okay, this can be,
yeah,
this is real, this is
yeah.
real. So yeah, love it.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah,
thanks again. Appreciate it.
absolutely. Yeah, so I look forward to, you must keep me up to speed though. Let me know how it's
Yeah.
going. Okay.
I will. The second I get someone that pays me money to sign up for it, I will let you know.
Yes, I love it. Okay, so a week, 2 weeks.
Oh gosh.
Come
Hopefully.
on,
Okay, I'll try.
yeah, you got it. Okay.
All
Mwah.
right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.
Mhm.